Everyone, and welcome to The Plane Guy with me, The Plane Guy, and today we are going to be looking at how to read operational flight plans. Now these are what the pilots will get on the flight deck of your flight to not only tell to them what route they're going on, their speeds, their altitudes, but also the weights, the fuel, the times, and airport information, weather. It gives you so much information, and it's a very useful tool for pilots. And not only that, also other operational departments within the aviation organisations do actually use these as well. Now this video is aimed today at not only the flight simmer who wants to use these type of charts and know how to read them as well for realistic reasons, but also towards aviation enthusiasts as well. Now just to say, I myself don't know what absolutely everything means on here, but you don't need to worry about that 100% if you're a flight simmer or an aviation enthusiast. Okay, so with that, I would just like to quickly say I've got the documents which I'm using today from a website called SimBrief. So if you are a simmer, you are looking to have real operational flight plans, such as the one I've got here, then go visit simbrief.com and make sure you make an account, and you too can create flight plans just like this. So with that being said, let's get on with it. Now the first thing you want to take note of is this. Now this here you'll see on every page, and it's very useful in the fact that it's going to give you your very basic information for the flight, and you want to make sure that's right on every single page. Alright, now just to say as well, as a dispatcher, because I used to work as a dispatcher, we used to check these off as well, because we would receive copies, but they were called load sheets, and it wouldn't display all the information that you'll see on here. Some did, some didn't. However, though, it's important that we did check off a lot of stuff within this to make sure that it was right, simply because if it wasn't right, then it's not a simple fact of just changing it, you know, just scribbling it out and then writing on it, because A, other stuff could be wrong and you've missed, and B, it's also important to know that as well, because if it's a weight, for example, then that weight might have been affected with others, so you might have an incorrect weight. So there is generally stuff that you do need to check off. So at the beginning up here we have U27223, which is your flight number. U2 is a 2-letter code for EasyJet. Next we have the date, which will be the 5th of September. I do apologise, I've got a bit of a tickly throat and a cold. And these here is your destinations in the 3-letter ICAO code. Is it ICAO? No, sorry, IATA code. IATA code. So it's Liverpool, Lima, Papa Lima, 2 Sierra, X-Ray Foxtrot, which is Berlin, Schonenfeld. I do apologise, I can't pronounce that. And that there is your page number. Moving on now, we'll go to your first bit of information, which is your flight number, EZY7223. Next bit of information is your date yet again. These here are your 4-letter airport codes. Now your 4-letter airport codes are very convenient because you actually need to enter these on your FMC. Now I bet some of you are saying, why don't you just use the 3-letter ones? Simply enough, your 3-letter ones, if you type that in, 9 times out of 10 it'll navigate you to a VOR or a DME, which is a radio navigational beacon, and a lot of times they are actually near the airport. However, though, it will only navigate you to that said point. Whereas if you put in the airport, it can also give you information relevant on the approach. So you can put in your approach routing. You can also put in your sort of takeoff routing, so your SIDS and stars, which are certain standard routes in and out of an airport for loads of different reasons. Of course, I'll be doing another video later on explaining what both SIDS and stars are, so make sure you keep an eye out for that. But yeah, you need to have 4-letter codes, which are ICAO codes to identify the airport. Also gives you it down here, which is Liverpool to Schonenfeld. I do apologise, I can't pronounce that. Next bit of information will be your aircraft type, Airbus A319, and your registration, Golf Echo Zulu Uniform India. Next bit of information is when it was released. Now, in terms of this operational flight plan, it will actually be wrong. However, though, only because today's an example, it doesn't matter, because I'm not actually going to be operating this flight on a flight simulator. As you can see, it's released at 18:37 on the 5th of September, and these are actually departure times here, and as you can see, it's been released after the aircraft has departed, so it's wrong, basically. But we don't need to worry about that. That's just based on the time you actually made your flight plan. However, though, I've actually taken this from a real-world flight, so don't worry about that in terms of today. Excuse me. Oh, I do apologise. Moving on now, you have your ATC air traffic control call sign, which will be today EasyJet, or sorry, Easy. That's the air traffic control call sign for EasyJet 72 India. So when you're contacting ATC, for example, line control, Easy 72 India with you flight level 350, for example. Moving on now, this information here. God, my highlighting skills are rubbish. That's a bit better. I think you all can see what I'm trying to highlight. Echo Golf Golf Papa Lima. These are your departure off stand, your departure takeoff times, and your departure off stand times. So we need to be off stand by 18:10. Well, that's what time we expect to be off stand, and we'll need to be airborne by 18:20. Now, these are not your scheduled takeoff times. All right, these are what your estimated are. These are your estimates here. All right, and Echo Delta Delta Bravo, the 4-letter code for Scotland Field. SFX, we're estimating to land at 1946 and to be on stand at 1956. And the SDA is your scheduled time of arrival, so we're looking to arrive at least 10 minutes early. Simple enough. Moving on now, this is also based on your performance data, so it's the 5th September 2017 aircraft type, and also based on that aircraft type as well, it'll also give you your engine types. This is important to note because you can get different engine types on different aircraft. On the 737-800 you can't, which is the Boeing equivalent of this aircraft. You can't, it would be a CFM56. However, on an EasyJet A319 you have the option of an IAG or a CFM. It's important to know that because those different engines have different performance. Okay, and that does affect how you operate your flight. Alright, because one engine might mean you can knock out a faster cruise speed, so you do need to take account for that, but obviously faster cruise speed will be a higher fuel burn, so the amount of fuel you'll burn will change. Alright, so moving on now, these are your weights. Now, just to say as well, I've actually developed this in coordination for Flight Sim, and with Flight Sim you can actually edit some stuff in relation to if you don't like using a certain weight category. For me, I don't like using kilograms. However, though, because I'm operating a flight within Europe, you should use kilograms within Europe, but if you want to use pounds, there's nothing wrong with that. However, just to say, EasyJet will always use pounds. Alright, EasyJet as an airline will always use kilograms because they're European. In Europe we use kilograms, in America they use pounds. I'm using an American system, so I'm wrong. Just wanted to clarify that, okay? So if you're looking for realism in terms of flight, if you're a flight simulator person, then you should use kilograms. But for me, I've grown up using pounds in terms of the flight simulator because it only worked in pounds and a lot of other stuff did as well. Then I still use pounds. But you know what? Just make sure that you do know what weight you are using. On your load sheets, it would actually say whether the weight was in pounds or kilograms. So, but you can easily tell. Alright, but you know what? That's enough about me, about pounds to kilograms. We'll actually need to decipher what this says. Here we have maximum TOW, which is takeoff weight. Your maximum takeoff weight for your aircraft is 154.324. Like I say, if it's in kilograms, it'll give you, essentially it just converts it to kilograms. Estimated, now this is your estimated takeoff weight, so it's important to note that, because it is an estimated weight, so it's not dead on, but you want to make sure that it's at least, if it's near it, then just make a note, just be cautious of that you might be above your takeoff weight, and that's where, if you are a flight simulator and you are a pilot, you do need to make some various decisions, but I'm not going to go into that. But essentially, yeah, the estimated weight, that's the estimated takeoff weight of your aircraft, so your weight upon takeoff. Same here, this will give you your maximum landing weight, LAW, so maximum landing weight 137, your estimated landing weight for today's aircraft 124511, and your maximum zero fuel weight, which is everything on the aircraft, so all your passengers, all your cargo, pilots, catering, everything except the fuel. Because the one thing that can change within a flight is the fuel. You can't throw passengers and cargo out of an aircraft. So yeah, that's important to know as well. So we're estimating a zero fuel weight of 117, and the max is 128. All good. Moving on now, here we have GND DIST is a ground distance, 627. AR AIRDIST, I do apologise, like I say, about my throat, is your air distance. As you can see, 579 nautical miles. Average cruise winds are also available as well, which is important to note. And your AVG ISA, which is your, essentially, it's in terms of your OAT, IAS, it's essentially your temperature. Average fuel burn per hour, your fuel BIAS, that's pretty simple there, that's pretty simple. Moving on now, this will say ALTM, which stands for alternate. Just to say as well, just in case you don't understand what any of the codes mean, so ALTN, you can go onto something here, there's many sites available for it. For me, I'm using something called Aviation at Chrome. I'm sorry, I can't pronounce that, but there's many sites available. All I have to do is just type in airline phrase decoder, which is what I do, and then you can get some many sites like this. But if you want to use this site, there's also loads other sites available, but this is a site I use to accurately sorry, wrong flight plan, to accurately look what words mean in case I don't know it. In case you don't know it, then that's perfectly normal, don't worry about it. So, as you can see today, our alternate Echo Kilo Charlie Hotel, I can already tell you that is Copenhagen. And of course, you do have things that you can check it over in terms of your 3-letter codes. So essentially this here, Charlie Papa Hotel for our alternate, as you can see here, it will give you the 3-letter one, so I know it's Copenhagen, etc. Flight steps, this is going to be your flight level. So Echo Golf Golf Papa will be flying the flight today at 37,000 feet. Display remarks, that's just in case there is any remarks. There isn't today. This here is your fuel information, so fuel here. ARPT means airport. Fuel means fuel, time means time, pretty simple. Trip fuel is your fuel that you're going to use from A to B, so in which case today, Liverpool to Berlin. And it's coming up with SXF for our airport code. So we're going to use £7,503 worth of fuel, which will last 1 hour and 26 minutes to get to Berlin from Liverpool. Continuous 15-minute reserve standard, that's standard to put in, will be 15 minutes at 1293 based on the weight for fuel burn. Alternate will be Copenhagen, and it will be 3,648,000. Am I saying this right? I don't think I am. £3,648 worth of fuel lasting for 36 minutes. And the FINRES, I'm sorry I can't pronounce that. I'm not going to try. We have 2,359 which will last for 30 minutes. In terms of these things here, the FINRES and your continuous 15 minutes, they're standard. The fuel level might change based on your aircraft, based on your weights, but you'll always have continuous 15 minute and an FINRES of 30 minutes. Now, of course, if you're actually planning one of these, you can change it if you want, but that's just a standard variant. Your minimum takeoff fuel, this is going to be the level of fuel you have in your tanks upon takeoff. That's important to know based on your TO weights. And of course, you can actually minus this from certain weights to actually triple check, which you are actually meant to do. So obviously, upon takeoff, we should have £14,803 worth of fuel lasting for 2 hours and 47 minutes. With extra, don't worry about that, that's just, like I say, don't worry about that. That's in case we decide to put any extra fuel based on that, so any extra fuel more than that. But there isn't any, so don't worry about it. And the reason you'll put that in just in case there's any like bad weather or something, and that can be down to the pilot's discretion, but just in case there's any last minute decided by the pilots, because like I say, when they're in the briefing office, they'll always go to a briefing office, then they can ask the person in there, the flight planners, the operational people, to increase that if they want, and they'll get a new OFP. That's only in place for some airlines though. So it'll be changed there, or if they want it on the flight deck, then the extra information will go in there. So moving on now, we have TO fuel, which, like I say, will be fuel on takeoff. That's just the same thing there. But then, of course, that is also based upon your taxi fuel, which is important to note, because here is your block fuel. And essentially, what your block fuel is the amount of fuel you'll have in total. So the amount of fuel we'll need for our flight today from Liverpool to Berlin, plus all the reserve fuel, will be a block fuel of 15023. So if you go up to the fuel and say, I want a block of 15023, that's how much you're going to put in the tanks. Simple. And of course, that minus the tax fuel 220 will give you your takeoff fuel. Of course, you get a lot more information based on this upon your load sheets. I'll also be doing a tutorial later on about how you can read them. And like I say, PIC extra, like I say, that's in case the pilot in command wants more fuel than your total fuel, etc. This here is just also some extra information as well, so with the pilot in command will need to sign that and other stuff, etc. Moving on, here we have information based upon your alternate airport. So here we have Echo Kilo Charlie Hotel Copenhagen. This here is your runway, it'll be runway 12 there. It'll be a track distance of 351 degrees magnetic. Distance will be 198 nautical miles. And the DCT here, that means direct. Alright, and that's important to note because the fuel taken on in terms of your alternate will be based on direct. Not all flight plans are direct nowadays, and it's important to know that because it will affect your fuel burn, and like I say, it will affect your weights and how safely you operate the aircraft. And it will be flown at flight level 340, so 34,000 feet. WC, don't worry about that. Time is 36 minutes. Fuel use will be 300 and... Sorry, I keep saying 300. 3,648 pounds and 3,648 pounds. Just want to check that off. And of course, this here, just in case you decide to print it off, you should just write down essentially what it says. Simple enough. There, for most people, I won't print it out because if you have a look, it's about 51 pages, unless you're an absolute billionaire with essentially a massive amount of ink. Then yeah, print it off. But for a lot of people, like to use something like an iPad. That's what I use because simple enough. I can't afford the ink. Routing, this is going to be your route that you'll pass on to ATC, your route ID. Simple enough, that's just your route ID. So it'll be Echo Golf Golf Papa departure from runway 27. It'll be the Barton 1 Victor, which will be your SID. Lima 975, which is a low altitude airway, to Desig. Then Lima 603 to Lamso. Then Upper Zulu. Now that's important to know. U means upper, so it's an upper airway. You're into the high altitude flight levels now. So you'll be above at least 29,000 feet, I would imagine. So Upper Zulu 304 to Gronny, Upper Mike 105 to Echo Echo Lima VOR DME, Upper November 125 to Whiskey Sierra, November VOR DME, Upper Zulu 612 to Gesto, Zulu 870 to Bravo Kilo Delta VOR DME, Upper Lima 619 to Vibis, and then it'll be the Vibit 4 Zulu, which will be your star into Echo Delta Bravo for 07 right. Moving on now, we have your departure ATC clearance. Essentially what that is that you need to crest something called an IFR clearance. Now, all commercial flights, EasyJet, Ryanair, whoever it is, will be done under IFR conditions. And one part of the IFR conditions is that you do need to pass on a route such as this. And you need to request it on the ground to ATC. So airports such as Heathrow, they have a clearance delivery frequency where you'll go to the control and you'll notice, I don't know, for example, for today's flight, I'll give you a demonstration. So it'll be Liverpool ground. So Liverpool ground, good morning, easy 72 India, stand, whatever, information, whatever, QNH, whatever, would like IFR clearance to Berlin. I think you should actually, no, you should actually say the actual airport you're going to. So IFR clearance to Scotland Field, because I can't pronounce it, then you can say the 4-letter code. So Echo Delta Delta Bravo. Is it Echo Delta? Yeah, Echo Delta Delta Bravo. And then they'll give you cleared to Echo Delta Delta Bravo on the Barton 1 Victor. And they'll say clear as filed. So in which case, you just put that down there. So this is the route that ATC will give you. It's just a nice little thing there, so you can type it in. Moving on now, these are your operational impacts. These essentially say, it gives you your limitations just in case you do need to change anything. So weight change can be up to 1 ton up, weight change can be up to 1 down, and I believe what these mean is that you can change it and you can actually write on top of it without having to get a new flight plan. So just very basic things, and obviously that's also based on performance as well, because if you are going to change anything, then you realistically should get a new operational flight plan, but if you're in mid-flight, then you can't exactly get one. But this will say your limits, essentially. ATIS, that's also your ATIS. What does ATIS stand for? Airport Traffic Information Service. So essentially it'll give you your local weather. You can put all that in here like so. This here is more of your time situations. So we're due out at Liverpool at 1810 Zulu. 1810 Zulu is GMT time. That's what all ATC goes off, and that's what all time goes off within the aviation industry. L means local. It's important to know your local times as well. But in terms of so if an air traffic control wanted to know what time you're getting into, for example, Scotland-on-Field, sorry I can't pronounce it, then you would say 1956 Zulu. It's just a way of standardising it to make it easier, just in case you didn't know that. So out, we're due out at 1810, that's our off stand time. Off, which is what time we expect to take off, simple enough, and also gives you conversion to local. And this here just essentially says the same thing within variation limits. On is 1946 Zulu, so yeah, these are the times, very, very simple. Block time is your estimated time en route, so we're only going to be in the air for 1 hour 46 minutes. S Kilo Echo Delta, that's based upon essentially your STAs and stuff like that. So scheduled departure time from Liverpool is 1810, that's right, and we're actually due in at 2010. So if we come up here, as you can see, we're estimating to get in at 1946. However, though, we're not due until 2010. And all that does there is just, it says it. And here you actually put in your actual times if you decide to print it off. Moving on now, these are your weights. Very important because these decode it a lot more. So essentially, packs today we have 88 passengers. Standard in the industry, it's 100 kilograms or 220 pounds. I'm not 100% sure on that. Yeah, I think that's how it is. Of course, if you want to be triple sure, then I'll make sure I'll leave a link down in the description below. But I'm pretty sure it's £220 per passenger with bags used as an industry standard, or 100 kilograms. I'm not sure if that's exactly right, so I do apologise if I'm wrong, but you should go check that out. I can't remember 100%. So yeah, that's how many passengers we have. Cargo, that's how much cargo we have. If you're flying something like a PMG 737, you're going to have to decode that because you have to put in your exact weights for the forward and aft hold. You can't just put in 3.8, whereas you can actually do that on the if you're using an airsoft Airbus. Payload today, that's how much actual payload in terms of passengers and cargo we're taking. So we're taking 24 tons. Moving on now, your ZFW, zero fuel weight, all the weight on the aircraft except for the fuel. 117.2, also gives you your max again. Should put in your actual, so you should actually calculate it, because just because you've got 88 passengers booked, it doesn't mean that 88 passengers will actually get on. So for some odd reason, 8 might not show at the gate, so you're going to have to get the bags off. So you're 8 passengers down with bags, so it's going to be a weight change, so you need to put in your actual weights, and that's for legal reasons as well. Fuel, like I say, it says you have an extra there of 13.3. Very handy to know that, because if you're flying something like a PMG 737 again, then it actually asks you for your reserves, unlike an Airbus, which will actually ask for your block. Then that's important to note as well. So yeah, that's important. I'm just trying to make sure I've got that right. Yeah, I've got that right. So fuel, estimated 15 tons worth of fuel. Max amount of fuel you can have on the aircraft is 28.3 tons. Just to say as well, this is an Airbus A319, just in case you didn't know it. Takeoff weight will be 132 tons. Max 145.3, and then obviously you have to put in your landing weight. Stabilizer trim, you just need to put in what trim setting you're going to have for takeoff. Obviously there's calculators in real life on the flight deck. EasyJet use laptops to calculate that, so you want to put that in. Landing weight actual, or landing actual weight, whatever, 124.5, and your max. Terrain clearance check, you just want to, as you see, it's disabled. That's just saying you some more information. Moving on now, we have the actual flight log. This is very important because you do need to check this off when you're putting in your flight plan. The way flight plans are designed, when you put it into your flight management computer, you'll put it in something like this. You'll put it in a style like this, and then it should load all this. So you want to check all your positions out with your waypoints and stuff like this, etc. So these are what you call various waypoints, etc. So you just want to check to make sure they're in. So moving on now, these will all be your frequencies along with your positions and what have you. So for example here, this will be Desig waypoint on the Lima 975, and I'll just bring it down a bit here to show you an example when I can find one. This here, VOR DME 112.4, which will be the frequency for that VOR DME. Latitude and longitude, simple enough, the latitude and longitude of that waypoint. Moving on now, these are your flight mode. I think, yeah, so just wanted to confirm. These are your altitudes, just wanted to confirm that. So obviously 27,000 feet, 86,000 feet, 12,600 feet, etc. These are just, like I say, your altitudes. Moving on now, these are your magnetic headings, I do believe. Yep, these are your headings, which you also do want to check as well. So from just trying to find a good example here. From Sonics to Denby, it will be heading of 082 degrees. Alright, simple enough. This here is your speed, what you want to be. It measures in Mach, so 0.67 Mach based on the speed of sound. This here also mentions your icing, so just want to triple check that out. Yep. So this here is based on your ISA and your winds as well. This here is your OAT at the altitude, so outside air temperature, your estimated fuel burn, and how much fuel you've actually burnt as well. And you're also meant to put in when you get to said waypoint at what times and how much fuel you've burnt, etc. So pilots will check this off because they'll go through the flight plan and make sure you have waypoints such as dibel, buck up, put in, and it's at the right altitudes, etc. However, though, it is important to note that not always these go off the SIDS or stars, because SIDS and stars usually have predetermined altitudes. You need to be at certain waypoints. 9 times out of 10 these don't cover it, so if you're a flight simulator person, you get in that predicament, then go off what this says. Sorry, go off what the actual chart says based on the SIDS or star. Alright, so yeah. And of course, like I say, you do want to check it. Also as well, something good that you have on flight plans as well here, it will say what FIRs you're going through, flight information regions. So you'll be going. So on today's flight, we'll be going through the Amsterdam FIR, the Hanover UIR, and have I missed one? No, I haven't. And yeah, that's basically it. Moving on now, it'll also give you your winds as well and your OATs. Very important to note. So you've got your wind information and your OAT, so at various waypoints, so say it will be 37,000 feet for today. Once we pass over Revla, it should be wind 252 at 29 degrees minus 54 OAT. Alright, moving on now, this here is just an ICAO flight plan, so when you file your flight plan off with ATC in real life, you'll have a lot of information that looks like this that does need to be coded, or if it's within a flight sim, then yeah, you also need to put a lot of this in remarks. You'll need to put that into remarks. Sorry, my highlighting skills are crap. You'll need to put that into remarks, and that's your route, and essentially it's just a way of passing on all your information. So if you want to decode it, you can do like so. So it's a flight plan for Easy 72 India IS, it's an A319, that's all your aircraft information based on the equipment you have available, so your navigation equipment. It'll say what time you are going off stand, so Echo Golf Papa 1810, your routes, what time you're due in, like I say, equipment, that's to do with your equipment again, information, obviously what FIRs, UIRs, whatever you're passing through, your reg, and whatever. This is just what ATC will see, and it's important to know that. Briefing, dispatch briefing info, very important because it will actually give you your weather. We'll actually go and decode this. So up here, this just confirms it, like so, just another information obviously confirms. METs, no data available, simple enough. SIGMETs, no weather available. Tropical cyclones, no weather. Yeah, simple enough, just no weather data available, simply because there isn't any, which is good. So departure, like I say, will be Liverpool, SA, FT, don't worry about that. because it's all just for logistics. What you do need to know is this, because this is your MET. It'll tell you your weather. Essentially, I'm just trying to figure out what that is. Yes, this here is when it's valid. I do apologise. So 05. So the 5th. Hang on, have I got this right? Yeah, I've got this right. So it's the 5th, valid from 1820. The FT 051703 Zulu. So you just want to make sure that that is relevant for your times. All right. So we'll just decode this here. So wind is 270 degrees at 13 knots. That's what that means. If you see something like this, this means your visibility. 999 means it's 10k plus. Very good. SCT means scattered clouds at 2,300 feet. This is your temperature range. So it's a temperature of 16 with a dew point of 13. So let's say your temperature range. Your Q means your altimeter setting. So it'll be QNH 1013 for hectopascal for Europe. This here is valid from the 5th from 1800 UTC to the 6th at 1800 UTC, so 24 hours. So 280 degrees at 12 knots, so no significant change except for a 10-degree variation within the wind. And I would say 10k plus still, but the clouds will be scattered at 20, and there's a probability 30% chance of that happening. And temporarily between the 6th, it will give you information for the next day. So from midnight on the 6th, so the next day, to 10 o'clock in the morning on the next day, it's going to be 7,000 feet, 7,000 meters visibility with showers broken at 014. Alright, so that's all it does really. Moving on now, you just want to make sure that it's the exact same for your arrival. You just want to check it out just to make sure that your weather's okay, so it gives you an idea. So Kavok, Nozig, you want to be seeing stuff like that. That means the weather's good. And simple enough, yeah, you just want to check over it like so. Like I say, just in case you're not sure how to read it, then you can just go and check something like this out. Or if you want to type in aviation weather codes, it'll also give you something like that as well. So yeah, it's very handy getting something like that given. And it should also give you Copenhagen as well, as you see there. Moving on now, these are your NOTAMs. Very important information because it'll tell you what's happening within the airport itself. So just want to make sure that all this is valid. So Lido NOTAM bulletin. Yep, so you just want to check that out, make sure it's all right. Simple enough. This is your NOTAM information for Liverpool. So Holding Point Foxtrot's closed, and it'll say taxiway Alpha closed east of Tango, west of Kilo. So it's just important to know stuff like that. And this here, and so on and so forth. So that's your airport NOTAMs. So if we have a look here for Scotland Field, taxiway Kilo 3, Bravo 10 November, taxiway Coffin parking position 19 closed due to WIP. And simple enough, it'll say all these. You'll get pages and pages of this. And for me itself, I do make a habit of just skimming through it, because you'll be there for ages if you are to read everything. And then, of course, you'll give you NOTAMs for the flight information regions and the UIRs you're going through, etc. So for me, I'm actually just going to skip that. Of course, real pilots will need to read that. I do feel bad for them though, because it is quite a lot of pages. And of course, if you are planning to print something out like this, you can skip it. I won't recommend doing it, but yeah, you should just at least skim through it. For today's flight, I'm actually just going to skip down here because, like I say, I'm not really doing today's flight, and I don't want to show you me reading through 30 pages when there's really no need. So, crew alert. Now, this is important because these are bulletins towards the crew. So, this one, so sort of like a NOTOC, if you will, which is a notice to captain. So, as you can see here, cost index, two options are available. Pilots may either select a cost index number from the list or may select automatic. So, this is just basically, company NOTAMs, sort of like, and some NOTOCs as well, you'll also find here as well. Now, moving on now, this is your actual route information, your map information, as I like to call it. So, here it's just going to show you an overview of where you're going from. So what I can already see is we're going to be departing out from the west. A flight plan is going from the west of Liverpool over towards Manchester, south of Leeds, Doncaster area. over via Skegness, over to Kings Lynn, I think that's Kings Lynn area, Norwich, not Norwich, ew, I'm crap at geography, but yeah, essentially over into the North Sea, cross through the North Sea, all the way north, just north of Amsterdam, crossing over into Germany, essentially south-west of Hamburg, over a place like Cologne, I think, and then over to Berlin, essentially. So it's just important to know, gives you an idea, and then of course Copenhagen's there, so with a direct route of just simple enough. This here is also your weather as well, and it's issued by Washington, and it's important to note valid 1800 UTC on the 5th. So with anything we should actually get another one of these, because they do actually change. And as you can see here, we've got a slight gust coming over. So that'll actually be good, because on departing we'll have a tailwind. As you can see here, we've got some clouds at 21,000 feet. But if the wind's doing that, then it should push it up. So it's important to note what your wind's doing and all that, etc. And then of course, it's only that's between flight level 100 and 450, 1800 UTC. Significant weather between 250 and 630 en route, and as you can see, no weather. Very good. These are your just average cruise winds. See what the wind's doing. It looks to be on departure, it'll be a tailwind, but then it'll start turning into a crosswind once you're en route. And this just shows your flight plan from the side based on your winds, and that's the end of the document. So simple enough. They are very, very easy to read. Just to say as well, the version in which I've been using it is called a Lido. You get loads of different versions. So the one that EasyJet actually uses, they use their own version, which is called EZY. And if you have a look, it's absolutely similar. It's no real big difference at all. But then, of course, if you're on Flight Simulator, you can put your own style input in if you want. For me, I always like to use the Lidos. Obviously, if you have a look at this, it can look very, very confusing. However, though, it isn't. However, like I say, the big difference is that you do get a few more pages with this, but it is cleaner. I would say it definitely is a bit easier to read, but then, you know, airlines such as Ryanair and EasyJet, they want to save printing costs, I suppose, so they'll make shorter ones. So yeah, everyone, that's been the video today. So I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have done, please make sure you do subscribe to never miss out on new videos as and when they are published. And of course, don't forget to follow us on social media as well, on Facebook and Twitter. Details will be down below. But thank you very much for watching. If you have enjoyed the video, please leave a big thumbs up. But from me, the Plane Guy, I wish you a very good day.
Thank you very much everyone for watching the video. Don't forget, if you have enjoyed it, please leave a thumbs up down below. It would really help me out an awful lot. And do not forget, if you also have enjoyed the video, please do subscribe to the channel so you never miss out on any great videos as and when they are made.